Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be looking at some practical ways to cope with adversity.
Ah, yes.
You guys gave us this super insightful article called How to Cope with Adversity from a website about all things heart, mind, body, and more. It's dated January 15th, 2025.
Okay.
And I thought it was really interesting how the article really emphasized finding relief and taking control, even when a solution may not be immediate,
Right.
And that's what we're going to kind of break down for you today.
Yeah. It's really about, equipping yourself
Right.
to be able to handle those inevitable rough patches
Yeah.
with more resilience and grace. It's not about erasing hardship.
Exactly.
It's about, being able to move through it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dig in.
Okay.
The first point that jumped out at me, at least, was this emphasis on self-compassion.
Yes.
It's like being your own best friend when you're
yeah.
facing tough times.
Yeah.
I know, I'm often way harder on myself
Oh, absolutely.
than I would ever be on a friend.
Yeah. That's so common, though.
Right.
Isn't it? We tend to really jump to self-criticism first.
Yeah.
And it just piles on to the stress that's already there.
Right.
And the article highlights, I think, so crucially,
Yeah.
how it's about acknowledging the difficult emotions, but remembering your inherent worth.
Yes.
So it's like
Yeah.
creating that space for yourself to just be
Yeah.
without judgment.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And, it goes on to talk about mindfulness for calming the mind
Right.
and using techniques like deep breaths, meditation, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's about grounding yourself when everything just feels chaotic.
Right.
The article specifically mentions focusing on your breath to quiet those racing thoughts.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it, how such a simple act
Yeah.
can have such a profound impact on our mental state.
It is. It's like hitting the pause button.
Yes.
And then this idea of setting boundaries really caught my attention, especially in situations like bullying or abuse.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how often boundaries are misunderstood.
Oh, for sure.
It's not about being selfish.
Right.
It's about defining what you find acceptable
Yeah.
and creating that safe space for yourself.
Yeah.
And that might mean limiting contact with certain individuals.
Right.
Or even just saying no more often to kind of protect your energy.
It's about prioritizing your well-being.
Exactly.
And what really resonated with me?
What's that?
The emphasis on connection.
Yes.
It's so easy to isolate yourself when you're struggling.
Oh, absolutely.
But the article really drove home that staying connected is like an antidote to loneliness.
Absolutely. Whether that's connecting with, friends, family,
Yeah.
or even a support group, sharing your experience
Right.
can be incredibly validating, I think.
Yes.
And not only that, you often gain these new perspectives
Yeah.
on your situation that you hadn't even considered before.
That's true.
Just knowing you're not alone in your struggles
Mm-hmm.
can be incredibly empowering.
It is. It's like sharing the weight of the world.
Yeah.
And speaking of feeling overwhelmed,
Right.
the article then shifts to focusing on what you can control,
Okay.
which is especially relevant for challenges like finances or health issues.
Right. And what's fascinating here is this shift in mindset.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling powerless in those situations,
Right.
you focus on taking small, manageable actions.
Yeah.
So that could be like creating a budget, sticking to a healthy routine, or even just researching different options. It's about reclaiming
Yeah.
agency in a situation
Yeah.
that might feel out of your control.
Right. And speaking of healthy routines,
Yes.
they also suggest incorporating exercise.
Yes.
They even mention that something as simple as a walk
Oh, absolutely.
can boost your mood.
It's amazing, how powerful movement can be.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, strenuous exercise. It's really about finding movement that you actually enjoy.
Right.
The article also emphasizes the importance of routine in general
Yeah.
for creating stability,
Creating a little pocket of predictability
Exactly.
when everything else feels turbulent.
Yes.
Okay. This next point I found so interesting.
Yeah.
Finding meaning in the struggle, even amidst the chaos.
Right. So it's not about minimizing the difficulty, right?
Yeah.
But it's about offering a new lens through which to view the experience.
Yeah.
And some people find this immense strength in reflecting on how they've grown or the lessons they've learned,
Right.
It's about seeking out that silver lining.
That makes sense. And that really goes hand in hand with the article's encouragement to seek professional support.
Absolutely.
Like having a therapist or counselor can be invaluable during those tougher times.
Yeah. It's like having, an experienced guide to help you navigate a challenging terrain.
That's a great analogy. Okay, and now for a truly unexpected suggestion.
Okay.
Practicing gratitude.
Mhm.
Gratitude when things are tough.
Right.
That seems counterintuitive, but the article claims that it can actually help to shift your mindset.
It's about consciously, I think, looking for the positive, even the smallest things.
Right.
It might sound strange,
Yeah.
but research shows that focusing on what you're grateful for
Yeah.
can actually reduce stress
Okay.
and improve overall well-being.
So it's like intentionally seeking those
Yeah.
glimmers of light,
Exactly.
even when surrounded by shadows.
Yes.
So what does all of this mean for you? This deep dive has given us a whole toolkit for
Yeah.
coping with adversity.
It has.
But it's more than just listing strategies, right?
Sure.
It's about like taking these ideas
Yeah.
and integrating them into your life.
Exactly. It's about fostering self-compassion, connecting with others.
Yeah.
Taking control where you can.
Right.
And even finding those moments of gratitude amidst the chaos.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's not about pretending that everything is fine.
Right.
It's about, building resilience.
Yes, navigating challenges with more grace and strength.
Exactly. It's so interesting, isn't it, how the article kind of flips the script on solutions.
Oh, how so?
Well, instead of waiting for a solution to magically appear, it suggests that maybe the journey itself is part of the solution.
Whoa, that's thought-provoking. So what if coping with adversity isn't just about getting through it, but actually shaping the outcome?
Exactly. It challenges us to kind of view adversity, not as a roadblock,
Right.
but as an opportunity for growth.
Right. It's like taking that idea of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger,
Mm-hmm.
but like to a whole new level. It's not just about being tougher.
Right.
It's about being more adaptable, more resilient, even more creative, and how we find ways to navigate those challenges.
And that ties back, I think,
Yeah.
to the article's emphasis on self-compassion.
Okay.
Like when we approach these difficulties with a kindness towards ourselves,
Yeah.
it creates that space for,
Yeah. Yeah.
real growth to happen.
It's like giving yourself permission to learn and evolve through the process rather than like beating yourself up for not having the answers right away.
Precisely. And instead of like labeling the situation as bad, what if we approach it with a sense of curiosity?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, what can I learn from this?
Right.
How can I use this to become more resourceful?
That is a powerful reframing.
It is.
And it makes me think about the article's suggestion of using mindfulness,
Yes.
If we can bring that present moment awareness to our challenges,
Right.
maybe we can start to see them more objectively
Okay,
so without all the added like fear and judgment.
Mindfulness really is a game changer.
Yeah.
It allows us to kind of observe our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them.
Yeah.
And it gives us that space, I think, to choose how we want to respond
Right.
instead of just reacting, out of habit or fear.
So instead of like spiraling into panic when something goes wrong,
Right, exactly.
we take a breath,
Yes.
we ground ourselves, and we look at the situation with more clarity.
Exactly. And that sense of composure is essential, isn't it, for making,
Yeah.
sound decisions.
Right.
And taking those small actions that are in our control.
It's about reclaiming that sense of agency even when so much feels outside our control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about celebrating those small wins,
Oh, yeah.
like organizing your workspace or going for a walk to clear your head.
Right.
These seemingly, minor actions
Yeah.
can actually help you feel much more in control of your environment, your state of mind.
And even in those moments when you do feel alone,
Yeah.
the article reminds us that connection is key.
Yes. Reaching out to, friends, family, or even those support groups,
Right.
it can provide that much needed validation
Yeah.
and emotional support.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner, reminding you of your strength and cheering you on.
And sometimes that outside perspective is just invaluable,
Mm-hmm.
When we're in the thick of it, it can be hard to see things clearly.
Right.
But talking to someone we trust, it helps us gain that fresh perspective, challenge those,
Yeah.
limiting beliefs and brainstorm solutions.
It's like having a sounding board for your thoughts and feelings.
Yes,
Sometimes just expressing those out loud can be incredibly therapeutic.
Absolutely. And speaking of therapeutic activities,
Yes.
the article also highlights,
Yeah.
the benefits of movement and exercise.
Right.
Even a brisk walk can do wonders for our mood and well-being.
I know. I always feel so much better after a good workout.
Yes.
It's like all that pent-up stress and tension just releases.
And it's not just about the physical benefits, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exercise also builds mental resilience.
Okay.
When we push ourselves physically,
Yeah.
it fosters a sense of confidence and self-efficacy
Right.
that can translate to other areas of our lives.
So it's like training our minds and bodies to handle challenges, big and small.
Exactly.
And speaking of training our minds,
Yeah.
the article suggests something pretty counterintuitive.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Practicing gratitude when facing adversity.
It might seem strange, right?
It does.
To focus on what we're grateful for when things are tough.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
research shows that this practice
Mm-hmm.
can shift our mindset.
Okay.
And it helps us cope more effectively with stress.
How does that work, though? I mean, when you're feeling overwhelmed, it's hard to even think about what you're grateful for.
Well, it's about intentionally shifting our focus.
Okay.
So instead of dwelling on what's wrong,
Yeah.
we're actively looking for those little glimmers of positivity.
Okay.
It could be something as simple as
Right.
a warm cup of tea,
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful sunset,
Right.
or even just a kind word from a friend.
Right. So it's like training our brains to notice the good,
Exactly.
even amidst the challenging stuff.
And over time, this practice,
Yeah.
it creates a ripple effect.
Yeah.
It helps us develop a more optimistic and resilient outlook,
Okay.
even when things are difficult.
That makes sense. And lastly, the article acknowledges that sometimes we need more than just self-help strategies.
Right.
It encourages us to seek professional support when needed.
Yeah.
Therapists, counselors, support groups, they can provide valuable guidance and tools and perspectives
Yeah.
that can be so helpful during those times.
It's like having an experienced guide to help us navigate.
Exactly. Those,
Yes.
particularly choppy waters.
It's a sign of strength and self-awareness, I think.
Yeah.
To seek help when you need it. It's recognizing that we don't have to go through those difficult times alone.
So as we move towards the end of this deep dive, I'm curious,
Yeah.
what has resonated most with you from this exploration of coping with adversity?
I think for me, it's just realizing we have so much more agency than we think,
Yeah.
even when things are really, really hard.
And that's really the heart of this whole deep dive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about recognizing our innate resilience
Yeah.
and our ability to adapt and grow even when, things feel incredibly difficult.
It's like we all have this hidden toolkit inside of us
Yeah.
filled with these resources and strategies for navigating those rough times,
Right.
Sometimes we just need a little reminder of what's in there.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
this deep dive has really been about,
Yeah.
unpacking that toolkit.
Right. And exploring all those practical strategies,
Yeah.
To help us cope more effectively with adversity.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From self-compassion to mindfulness,
Yeah.
setting boundaries,
Right.
staying connected.
And it's important to remember, too, these strategies aren't like a one-size-fits-all solution.
Oh, for sure.
Like, what works for one person might not work for another.
Right. It's about experimenting.
Yes.
Finding what resonates with you.
Exactly.
Creating your own, personalized toolkit
Yes.
for navigating all of life's ups and downs.
And as you're building that toolkit,
Yeah.
remember that it's always okay to ask for help.
Right.
Seeking professional support is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Absolutely. It's like having, a trusted guide
Yes.
to help you navigate those especially challenging terrains.
And speaking of guides,
Yes.
this article has been such a wonderful guide for us today.
It has.
It's given us this framework for understanding adversity,
Yeah.
not as an endpoint,
Right.
but as this catalyst
Yeah.
for growth and transformation.
It's reframed this whole concept of a solution.
It has.
Maybe the solution isn't about finding a quick fix
Yes.
or escaping the difficulty,
Right.
but it's about learning and adapting and evolving
Exactly.
out the experience.
And who knows? Maybe that's where the real magic is.
Yeah.
Maybe in those moments of challenge, we actually discover our truest selves,
Yeah.
our deepest reserves of strength and resilience.
That's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
It leaves me feeling incredibly hopeful. Even amidst hardship, there's always that potential for growth and healing and transformation.
So to our listener, as you go forth from this deep dive,
Yeah.
remember,
Mm-hmm.
you are not alone.
Mm.
You are stronger than you think.
Yeah.
And you have everything you need within you
Yeah.
to navigate whatever challenges life throws your way.
And remember to be kind to yourself along the way.
Yes,
Self-compassion is the fuel that keeps us going,
it is.
even when the road gets bumpy.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
May you find these insights helpful
Mm-hmm.
as you navigate your own journey.
Yeah.
And may you always remember the power of resilience, the beauty of growth,
Mm-hmm.
and the unwavering strength that lies within you.
Until next time, keep exploring,
Yes.
keep learning,
It's growing.
and keep diving deep.